4 o'clock now, and we begin with breaking news in Adams County. A carjacking led to a gunshot near Global Leadership Academy campus. This is a live look at the area now, just north of I-25 and Highway 36. Adams County Sheriff's Office says 2 minors carjacked someone in a neighborhood nearby, and at least one of them fired a shot. That shot hit a window of one of the buildings on campus, and no students were inside, so no one was hurt. This is a view from Sky 9. The sheriff's office says 2 juveniles were taken into custody quickly thanks to the help of witnesses.
The witnesses were able to give us good suspect description of those that they saw running from the truck after it crashed. So we had clothing description, we had physical descriptors, and so we were able to, deputies coming into the area, we were able to see one of these juveniles pretty quickly.
Investigators say the carjacking victim in this case is also a minor. Spencer Soisher is on that scene, and he'll bring us information on the story coming up on 9 News at 5. A man from Colorado is taking on his town's police department and former prosecutors. In a lawsuit filed in federal court, he claims malicious prosecution ruined his life.
Now, that man was acquitted in the trial in which he was accused of killing his girlfriend. 9 News reporter Jeremy Hohola heard from that man. He joins us now with a breakdown of those allegations.
Yeah, 11 years ago in the small city of Monte Vista, Colorado, a woman was found dead. Her death was initially ruled a suicide, but a lawsuit says her family pressured police to charge her boyfriend with murder. That man is now suing the city, claiming malicious prosecution. Around this time of year, 20,000 sandhill cranes descend near the city of Monte Vista in southwest Colorado. A beautiful sight that often makes news in the month of March.
This is an example of government at its absolute worst. This kind of malicious prosecution.
But on this March day, the city is making news because of the claims of this former Monte Vista resident.
My mother, she cried every night, and it's just a hard thing to go through, knowing that they're trying to put me away for life for something I had nothing to do with. And it's hard.
Jimmy Lee Garcia is surrounded by family and his attorneys as they announce a federal lawsuit against the city of Monte Vista for malicious prosecution.
Now, this was not an example of government making a mistake. What this was Monte Vista police and prosecutors intentionally ignoring mountains of evidence that this was, in fact, a suicide.
In 2014, Garcia's girlfriend was found dead, but her family refused to believe she took her own life. Garcia's lawsuit accuses officials like police of bowing to political pressure when they arrested him nearly 10 years after her death and charged him with murder. He was put on trial, but a jury found him not guilty of murder.
Nothing could be worse than losing a child. And for them, I am sure it was incredibly hard. But that is not a justification for continuing to pin it on somebody who simply is not responsible for their daughter's death.
Garcia says he and his family became town pariahs over the course of nearly 10 years as police labeled him a killer. He says family members lost their jobs. Now he wants justice, he says.
We're looking to see justice for me and my family, and for the police department. Whatever they did wrong, we want accountability. We want them to be accounted for everything they did wrong to me, not only for me, but for future people.
Garcia moved away from Monte Vista because of the scandal. We tried numerous times to reach the city of Monte Vista and its police department for comment. Our calls and emails so far have not been returned. Tom, back to you.
Jeremy, this isn't wrongful prosecution. They're saying it was malicious, so that really adds a lot of weight to at least what they're charging.
Yeah, Mari Newman there says prosecutors in this case and police intentionally prosecuted this man knowing that he was not guilty of his girlfriend's murder.
So another important court case will follow. Yeah. All right, Jeremy, thanks. Questions remain right now as to whether or not President Trump will raise the tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum.
It was supposed to happen tomorrow, but just 1 hour ago, the White House trade advisor told CNBC we're not going to see that tomorrow. This has kind of been tit for tat all day. Earlier today, the president announced he would increase the tariffs in response to Ontario Premier Doug Ford announcing a tariff on electricity that it provides to some U.S. states, which was in itself a retaliation to previous tariffs on Canadian goods. For a second day in a row, the Dow was on a roller coaster, reacting to the escalating trade war with Canada and Mexico. The Dow lost more than 475 points today. The S&P dropped 42 points.
The numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. We are in a period of economic transition.
The president is facing another battle in Congress. There is another funding deadline looming with the possible shutdown of the government. However, the House just within the last half hour passed his budget bill narrowly. It now heads to the Senate, where it faces a steep challenge. The longest government shutdown in history happened during President Trump's last administration. That lasted 35 days.
In Aurora, police now have new policies as far as police pursuits. Officers can now start a chase when they spot a stolen car. Now, until now, police could only chase felony suspects and DUI drivers. Today, 9 News Investigates Kevin Vaughn sat down with the police chief and talked about the change.
When I looked at this department, when I looked at this organization, I looked at this community, and more importantly, I looked at the crime statistics that show that this community has been victimized over and over again with absolutely no accountability component. That's where I said I think we need to readdress or relook at this opportunity.
And you'll be able to see much more with the chief and Kevin's full story. That's coming up on 9 News at 5.
A live look outside right now where you see there are a few clouds out there. So maybe you want to look outside again about 7:03 because they could create the perfect conditions for a good Colorado sunset tonight. And if you get a good view, we'd love to see it from your vantage point. So send it to us by hitting the Near Me button in our free 9 News app.
That also includes if you get great pictures of your dog or your Uncle Clyde or just pretty much anything. Right, Karen?
Yeah, your horse.
Your backyard.
Yeah.
The tree.
A selfie, whatever
Your
you want.
kids. Send us everything. Happy pictures. Send those in.
Send us what you got.
It's kind of like an early preview of spring, you guys. I mean, yesterday, temperatures in the low 70s. Today, mid 60s. Even with the high cloud deck out there, it's really a lovely afternoon. We're not dealing with the wind or the elevated fire danger concerns that we saw yesterday. Temperatures this hour, 68 Denver, 70 in Pueblo, 70 in Lamar. And the winds may be increasing ahead of that California storm that will be here on Friday. This is the system that we're tracking. It's moving into southern Colorado, and it will produce a lot of wind. And that means if we have rain, we're going to have some rain and blowing conditions. If we have snow, it'll be blowing snow. Friday's just going to be an interesting day of travel. Between now and then, other than those high clouds about, really good conditions for traveling on I-25, I-70, or in and out of DIA. Upper 60s now. We drop just a bit after sunset, but a mild night coming up. We will be talking about elevated fire danger again as we move into Thursday, the warmest day of the week, and possibly one of the windier days ahead of that storm, which could bring rain, wind, and snow on Friday. We'll talk about the timing and impact of that and then look ahead to your weekend, and we'll have all that with the extended forecast in just a bit.
Today, the National Transportation Safety Board said that there are serious safety issues at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C., and that's where the Army helicopter and an American Airlines flight collided in late January. 67 people died when the two aircraft crashed over the Potomac. Today, the NTSB said that certain runways at Reagan, where the crash took place, can put commercial flights and helicopters too close. They say out of over 944,000 flights at that airport between October of 21 and December of 24, there were more than 15,000 close calls between helicopters and planes. Those near misses pointing towards a serious problem.
Shouldn't take a tragedy like this to occur. Unfortunately, one did, and so we are calling on action, but there clearly were indicators.
Right now, the NTSB is going to severely restrict helicopter traffic near the airport. And they say the FAA should also find an alternative route for helicopters that are going to be impacted by the closure. According to the NTSB, there is still more to investigate before releasing their final report.
New video shows the crash in New Jersey that hurt more than a dozen people. It happened overnight with a packed school bus. It crashed and it flipped over on a highway. The driver and one student had serious injuries. 13 others had minor injuries. That crash remains under investigation.
The first busy travel season of this year starts in a couple of days. Denver International Airport expecting an 8% increase in spring break travelers this year. They say the busiest travel days are going to be Friday and Sunday. Over the next 2 weeks, DIA is expecting more than 1.2 million people to pass through the airport.